to Incredibly Ordinary.
Kind of like that.
You got a good radio voice, man.
I've actually had a guy tell me that. He's like, if insurance doesn't work out, dude, you should definitely go on the air.
Be on the radio.
Yeah.
All right. And
Yeah, they told me that too.
good. Did you make the
Blacksmith.
blacksmith? Which one is that one?
Blacksmith.
Like they're kind of
Yeah, in
their
their
go-to?
house. Yeah, their
Okay.
house. I was thinking, is there another name for it?
I like how we are. So the War Room Huddle, which is on the mug, that's RFG's podcast. So we're representing two podcasts here. That's how we do things. But we got the coffee, Blacksmith, and just for you, we got your favorite drink here, Woodford Reserve, and the old-fashioned style. So cheers, man.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming on here with us.
I appreciate you guys having me
Yeah.
on.
Your coffee?
Well, cheers your coffee. There we go. So,
There we go.
oh man, dude, that is really good. How like those little bottles of the old fashioned.
It's good, huh?
It is really good. So, but hey, man, appreciate you coming with us today. We got Lucas Barta here, and we're pumped to have you just kind of hang out with us and really talk about what you do. I know you're in the insurance world, but really just who are you? How do you get to this? What's your background? Where are you from? Just kind of talk about that.
Yeah, so I actually grew up in Ellsworth, lived there for 18 years, went to K-State after that, and majored in finance for a while, and then I had to take tax accounting, and I was like, yeah, no more of this.
Not doing that crap.
So I ended up switching to marketing and sales, and kind of the rest is history. Applied online for an internship with an insurance agency in Kansas City, and had a good time up there, but wasn't headed in the right direction, and then kind of got a little crimey around our house up there. I'm not fit for the big city.
Didn't you say that like one of the nights there were gunshots and you're like, yeah, we're getting out of here kind of thing?
Yeah, so I pick up my wife from like a half night shift, and we're going inside, and the street's pitch black. We're the only ones out there. I'm unlocking the door, and like we got a Ring camera and everything. Now, as soon as I unlock the door, we just hear 3 shots in the air. And there's like I said, no one else around. So I didn't know if it was like a test or anything, but we didn't call the cops. And so I was like, all right, yeah, we're going to find a new house or move.
Let's get out of the big city. And hey, you know what? Salina doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah.
So,
and so it ended up, the guy I worked with at the agency in Kansas City was also looking to move. And he got in touch with my current boss, Jay Copeland. And my boss is like, do you know anybody who wants to move to Salina? And Dan's like, well, yeah, Lucas. And I was like, and my boss didn't even put an ad in the paper. And here I am.
Awesome.
So we can officially say now, this is the very first time we have the CIA on the podcast with us.
Yeah.
And so I never thought we'd ever say that before. Copeland Insurance Agency, CIA. So, but yeah.
Got it. Okay. Got
But
it.
we, it's the CIA. We can say that officially now that it's on here.
Yeah, our LLC is actually a CIA LLC. So yeah.
Don't you have something on the side of your truck?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just-
I've got
oh.
our CIA logos on the truck. That way, if I go out to people's houses and take pictures and stuff in the middle of the day, I don't get shot at.
See, you need like a black shirt where it's just the CIA. No insurance agency on the logo, just
Yeah.
blacks in the white letters CIA, and that way you can go to houses and stuff. That'd be kinda,
I've had people stop me at stoplights and are like, "Are you with the actual CIA?" I was like, "Maybe."
yeah,
Depends.
I'm telling you. So did you, growing up, was there ever did you ever think you'd get into the agency, insurance war? I said agency, CIA. Okay. Did you ever get into the insurance world? Like, was that ever like a passion for you? Or is it kind of like, hey, this has presented itself, let's try it out, and just kind of fell in love with it when you were going in on that route then?
Yeah, so funny enough, growing up, I pictured myself working in a high-rise office in a cubicle. Don't know where I was planning on doing it at, but that was always my thought of going to work someday.
Until you got to that accounting class.
Yeah, once I got to that
And then
accounting
you're like,
class.
CPAs, they're a special type of people.
And there's Ellsworth is full of high rises, so I could see where they got that dream.
That old abandoned building way out at the end of town.
They call those grain elevators.
No, not the grain elevator. The one.
There's a big hospital
Oh,
there.
yeah, the old hospital. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I used to deliver freight to that building when it was a hospital. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. My grandma used to make me go there when she got her allergy shots. I was like, Grandma, do we have to go to the creepy building again?
Yeah.
But,
So it really wasn't a passion for it then until you got into the business then?
No, once I switched my major to marketing, I was looking at all the sales jobs. Most of them required, you're gone 5 days out of the week, and that was something I really didn't want to do. So it was either be a realtor, a car salesman, or insurance salesman. And insurance was, I like it because it's mostly about building relationships with people. It's not as transactional as like, buying a house or a car. And so that's what I really like about it. And it's kind of like I'm going to try it out, and then end up. I do love it, as boring as it may be to some, but.
How long you been doing this?
I've been a licensed agent for 3.5 years now.
Good.
So,
like you said, the relationship building. I mean, you get to interact with a ton of different people, and yeah, you get the policies going, but that ongoing relationship. I know that's how I met you. Was, I mean, yeah, okay, I need to get insurance, but just the relationship building beyond that's a really cool part. Is that probably your favorite part about it, you think, or?
Oh yeah, it's getting to know people, kind of what makes them tick. Seeing people who have like shared values with me. Stuff that when you talk about stuff that people like, and they get fired up. You see a little light in their eyes, and that's what I like doing with people. That's my favorite part. You're out there to sell insurance, but you're mostly out there to make friends. In a way, is kind of how I think of it. So.
Cool.
So you have a family.
Yeah, I've got a wife and a dog and 2 cats.
Oh, that's a family.
Yeah, heck of a family. So
Join the club with dogs and cats, but
yeah, and so that's another reason. Just my wife would not be like, wouldn't get along too well if I was gone all the time.
Yeah.
So
Right.
And then so with insurance, is it you just do auto and like, what kind of insurance
What's
do you
the
do?
lines you carry?
yeah, so we do home, auto, business, farm, and life. We do everything besides health, essentially.
Okay.
So we do a lot of bonds too. So like if a commercial contractor needs a bond for like $1 million project, then when they give us a call, and then I run to Manhattan, get the official bonded paper, and I bring it back. And
Interesting, cool.
so yeah.
Is there an area you specialize in that you focus on, or is it kind of?
I really focus on commercial policies for the most part, but home and autos are always really nice. Those are a little bit easier to acquire, not as big of a premium though. But yeah, commercial is what I went to. I was actually just finished up a program called Pacesetter Program through State Auto, which is one of our companies, and only 30 agents out of the entire United States get picked to go. And so I just finished that up. And the whole focus the whole time was commercial. So I had to get 40 expiration dates every week for commercial businesses. And so that's kind of where my expertise is now, because I had to do that for 6 months.
Nice, okay.
Wow.
And when people think of insurance, I mean, like you said, it can be a very dull, boring subject at times, but there's a lot of importance behind it. What are some of the craziest or some of the most extreme cases you've seen that, hey, this is the reason why you would need insurance in this area? Or what are some of those weird experiences? We see the commercial with J.K. Simmons, like the guy's car went down in the water, but personally, what are some things you guys have seen that's been crazy?
I actually called my boss this morning to get a crazy claim story from him. And this one is just one that would be totally unexpected. I mean, even me being in the industry for 3.5 years now, I would never guess this would even result in a claim and a payout. So there's essentially this guy who was on the board of a rural cemetery in the middle of the country, and the county comes in, claims eminent domain to widen the roads. And so they had to move like 10 bodies, and they had been buried for decades. And they didn't get proper authorization from all the family members because they didn't think some of them were around.
Oh, no.
And so everybody that was on that nonprofit board actually got sued. And
By the families of the...
yeah.
Really?
And so our guy was the only one who had a personal umbrella. And so that paid for his defense costs, and they ended up paying out like $20,000 to defend him.
Wow.
Holy cow.
And so that's a note for you at home. If you guys are on like a nonprofit board, they can take you down too for your decisions. So it's very important you carry a personal umbrella.
Well, that one of those family members came out there, Grandpa's not here anymore.
Yeah. I don't think it was that I don't think it was like that shocking, but yeah, they called him we moved him.
That's amazing that would pay out.
Yeah.
And protect.
Yeah. So that was
neat.
that was a great example I got from my boss, but yeah, something you would never think about, like getting sued for moving a body, and you're just trying to contribute to your community.
Right.
So
Yeah.
An umbrella policy, then you're kind of going down that route. Let's say I'm out in the country and I'm on a piece of land and I want to throw, I don't know, a neighborhood party or a bonfire or a hayride ride.
Hayride ride.
And so if I have people out there, just, hey guys, come out, hang out and hayride ride, someone falls off, break their leg, without an umbrella policy, I'm liable then for a potential you're paying for my bills because it happened on your property kind of thing.
Yeah, so on your homeowner's policy, you do have you have a liability limit of $500,000, I think, on yours.
Okay.
And so, we'd pay up to $500,000 if anybody got hurt, if there was a lawsuit. But it's always nice to have that umbrella there for that extra $1 million to $2 million of coverage. And you can get a personal umbrella all the way up to, I've seen them up to $10 million before on some higher net worth individuals.
Well, if someone's out there hunting on your land and an accident happens or death happens, could you be held liable in a case like that?
Absolutely. If you so one of my favorite instances in insurance is if somebody breaks into your house and they get hurt on med payment, there's no questions asked. And so technically, you could have somebody break into your house, stab them, and then pay for their medical bills to get well.
Well, before we moved out to the country, people would come up and say, "Hey, can I hunt out on your property?" And I said, "Well, yeah, if you get hurt or anything, I'm throwing you across the fence because you didn't get hurt on my property." So.
Yeah.
So even like fishing, like, hey, I have a pond. This guy's going to come out here and fish. He falls in the water. Something happens. Like, even though you weren't around the area, it happened on your place. You could be liable for something.
Yeah, because that's your premises and your liability policy covers all your ground.
Yep.
So when did it because it seems like we have become such a sue happy country, and has that come about, you think, a lot sooner, or where did that come from?
I'm not entirely sure. When I first started realizing that people were getting sued all the time for everything was when that gal dropped the McDonald's coffee in her lap.
Right,
that's my first solid milestone of
you
lawsuits.
Watch any nightly television, ball game, or whatever, and the majority of the ads are attorneys. There's some pretty good revenue sitting there that they'll go after it. So
yeah,
it just seems like it's if anything happens, the first fear someone has oh my gosh, am I going to get sued for this kind of thing?
Yeah.
It's like, God, it sucks. That's the way to think, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So when someone's looking at the two basic policies, auto and home insurance, and when you're looking at auto and home, what are some unknown things that people might not commonly know about it that, hey, here's something you should really pay attention to that might not be known, might not be talked about a lot, but you really need to focus on these areas?
That's a great question. One thing that comes to mind after the pandemic and everything, there was a lot of online fraud, and one of the things we're kind of recommending to clients now is adding a little bit of cyber coverage under their home policy, and so that would cover you if all your, say somebody hacked in your computer, held your family's photos for ransom and stuff. That would kind of cover some of the costs of doing the forensic computer accounting and tracking down where that may be, or in some cases even paying the ransom.
What about financial loss, though? If they got into your checking account, we just had a call this week on an instance like that. Would it cover something like that?
Yeah, so that's kind of a gray area. Kind of depends on which company. Not all of our home and auto companies will offer the cyber coverage, but
Right.
It depends. My best cyber example would be a commercial claim. A lawn care company in Kansas City, somebody hacked their schedule and held it for ransom, and they're visiting 2,000 homes a week, and so they didn't know where to go, who needs to pay them, and stuff like that. And so we had that coverage on there, and it actually paid the ransom money, so they get all their stuff back, and then they went on their own and went after the hackers and stuff. And so they will reimburse you to a certain extent if you have that coverage.
Is that something you can buy separately then too?
Not individually, but as a business you can.
You can? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can't really get a monoline cyber policy for yourself, but if you're a business, then yeah.
So you started off talking about the importance of building those relationships with families. That's our attitude here too. But then you mentioned the commercial side. Mm-hmm. What's the definition of commercial insurance to you, or where's that business at?
It could be, mom and pop store downtown, in pretty much anything, any sort of stuff, even Joe and his mower in your truck, I could still consider that a commercial policy because he's out there providing a service. And so, but typically my favorite risk to work on though is auto repair. I'm a big car guy, so that's something that I can easily, pick up their lingo with them and stuff like that. And then as well as you don't think about it too much because not a lot of contractors have storefronts, but that's kind of our bread and butter. Every insurance company wants to insure a contractor. So, yeah. One of the things I did want to mention about homeowners insurance that's been a hot topic lately is, everybody's kind of seeing an increase across the board, and that kind of ties back to, I know it's been be like a dead horse almost, but the increase in inflation. It's harder for insurance companies to get the materials to rebuild your home, and also they want to make sure you have your home insured to value. So if you do see an increase in your home owner's insurance, don't think, oh, somebody's jacking my rates up for no reason. Take a look at that coverage limit, because most companies are bumping those up, because if you don't have your house insured to the right amount, and the right amount is factored in by taking your parcel and putting it into a replacement cost estimator.
Right.
So that'd be the reason why, is because if something were to happen to your home, the cost to rebuild it, that's where the jack up the rates would happen at, just, hey, wood and lumber and stuff like that. And
yeah. And so a lot of people are jumping ship, like thinking, oh, I'm going to switch insurance now. And it's like, yeah, your rates went up a little bit. You're getting more coverage, though, because if you don't have your house insured to the value, there's what you get. It's what's called a co-insurance penalty, and says, if you have your house insured 60% of value, they're only going to pay you out that 60% of that claim.
I'll ask you a question. There's a lot of ads on the radio. They talk about title insurance. Mm-hmm. Is that anything that you guys fall into or get into, or is it necessary?
That's something we don't really mess with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen those too.
Is that in regards to someone trying to steal your home title?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't know if that was. I'm thinking, is it worth it? Yeah.
It's like almost like fraud protection. It seems like, in a sense, or in the line of fraud protection. I wonder.
I don't know how that. Yeah. I see it. I guess it happens, but how do you protect against it?
Yeah, that's something that I honestly have no idea about, but you piqued my interest now. I see those commercials as well, and I'm just like, never heard of that before, so kind of just pushed to the side. But
well, you think, hey, my house is paid off, I'm at home, I'm happy, and all of a sudden I don't own the house anymore.
Yeah.
And how do you prevent that, or how do you protect against that? So,
yeah,
I'm not saying it's happening every day, but if it can be stolen online, it's a potential. Yeah. So, if someone shows up at my house and wants my house, good luck.
Yeah.
So, Lucas, you sparked in my mind, the consumer going out to get home insurance and auto insurance, and everybody's always trying to shop around, especially with prices going up, inflation and everything. You see all these commercials, and they're like, hey, we can save you this amount on average, and then they've got all of this disclaimers at the bottom. Is that how much of that, because I'm assuming that the competition is pretty standard across the board, but it comes back to what you were originally talking about with service. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like in investments and, financial planning. It's like the relationship is truly the value add on top of the product, but I guess that's my question is, how much of that is people just switching? Oh, Progressive. Oh, Geico. Oh, do you see people doing that a lot? Or?
Yeah. So I've actually had some buddies go Progressive Direct on me, in which we represent Progressive, but they just think like, oh, this is only online because it says so on TV. And it does come down to like a preference thing. Like me personally, I'd rather have somebody to talk to. I'd rather be able to walk into an office. And
sure.
Anymore, Progressive and Geico online, you're getting sent to a call center with somebody who just like took their test, and there's like a little notebook that has like these 5 things where they say yes or no to. And
right, and they're not going to be worrying about that annual checkup or review to make sure you are covered for what you thought you were covered. They don't care.
Yeah,
that's just I understand the concept of people thinking that's an easy thing to do, but
I think people are wanting to go back to more of that face-to-face relationship where we've kind of gone such to just take care of it right away, go online, click, we got it, and then they don't think about it until something does happen, and they try calling in, and they get a different person each time, versus if something happens to my house, my vehicle, I'm going to call. Like, I'm going to go to your office. I'm going to see you in person. Here's what's going on. And you're going to go, let's take care of it right now, face-to-face.
It's kind of like when you do your income tax with one of those programs, and then you have to go talk to the IRS. And
Right. Yeah.
Who's going to go with you? Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and every time you call a call center, it's like you're hoping you win the lottery, right? You hope you get
that
you
one
get that
right
one
one.
person
Yep.
that, man, they excel at their
hang up,
job, you
call
know,
back.
and they for some reason they have this huge heart and compassion for humanity, and they want to execute their job accurately.
Yeah, I've so one of our companies is Allstate, and they've actually went to strictly chat box, even like for agents to talk to them, and so I won't touch them anymore.
To like file claims too. Like you can't
Yeah.
call in. You just have to do it through a chat.
Yep, gotta do it through a chat or like upload the documents online, and so it's atrocious.
Makes you not even want to look at them when you're comparing policies.
Yeah.
It's like, the service won't be there. Why do you use them?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
you get the bot first, and it's like, oh, you're going to need an actual person.
Are you a human?
Yeah. Right.
yeah, basically, yeah, you got to put a bunch of codes, and then they're like, oh, okay, all right,
Yeah.
we'll try to connect you now. But I think a lot of this, a lot of the rise in tech insurance, like which tech companies are like, like Geico, Progressive for a while, they're actually kind of getting out there more direct now, but yeah, those tech companies are feeding off the instant gratification that everyone has come to know and love from phones and technology. And, I'll have somebody call in for a quote, and, so that's the beauty about us is we've got multiple carriers we can go to. So say like you're with Travelers, it goes up. Well, guess what? We're going to move you. Still have the same great service. Just we're going to move you to a different company with some better rates. And
So you're not captive to one area. You essentially are a broker. We can go out and hey, here's the policy that best fits your needs. For you though, it's this one, and you can actually shop everything for what sits or what suits that person's needs. Then
exactly, yep. Our hands are not tied to one company. So like like anybody who has like a regular storefront like State Farm and American Family, like if it's in their appetite guide, like we don't like doing diesel repair. Well then, as an agent, you're out of luck. You can't go anywhere. You just say sorry, can't help you out. And then, but with us, we've got. I'd say we probably have like 50 companies that we're directly contracted with, and we can access about another 200
cool.
or
Okay.
more. So,
And so, I mean, there's the basic policies, auto, home. How does it look for, let's say, a sports team
Yeah.
or like a school district or just, something like people wouldn't think about, like, okay, well, there's the Kansas City Chiefs or K-State Wildcats. I'm sure they have to have insurance policies that cover all these different departments. How does that work? Is that like a massive umbrella policy that covers the entire sports team, or is it?
Easy. So one of my favorite things that my mentor Scott told me before he retired was that all the accounts are the same essentially, just bigger numbers. And so you're always going to have that general liability coverage, that property coverage, and that auto coverage. And so it's, really not too different to insure, a sports team versus, your contractor down the street. You have the same like 4 base coverages and stuff like that. I will say like a sports team. I do a lot of like sports camps for Sharp Performance here in town. We do the insurance on those, and there we do have like participation health coverage, and so that would be like the only really different thing. But other than that, it's just general liability, property, and you have workers' comp too for those events that do require employees. And so it's all. It's not that simple, but in a way, it's fairly simple.
So the main staples are there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So back just more on you. What do you do for fun? What's your? I heard cars a while ago.
Yeah.
Give us a little more education on you. And
Yeah, so I'm a Chevy man first and foremost.
there's one Chevy in our parking lot, right?
Yeah,
right?
Nate's got it.
Yeah.
It's an honor to insure that.
and they need it. So
Yeah. Too much.
I'm trying to push these guys on you. They keep on saying they don't want to, but
Nate might be more, to handle than you realize. He takes it to Mount Rushmore and drives off,
I told him about that trip.
Yeah, he told me about all the switchbacks.
He's probably going, don't tell me this.
I can't see down the hill here.
He's like sending pictures, and all you see is the
hood of the
his
vehicle.
car.
Yeah,
While he's driving, right?
the hood and like just a few scattered
Yeah.
clouds.
Nate's like, we went up and down that 4 or 5 times. I'm like,
Anyways,
Why?
back to you, man. So,
Yeah, tell us a little about yourself.
But yeah, I like cars. I like. I try to stay in shape. I do enjoy working out, whether it be like if I'm motivated to do it like 3 times a week or 5, depends on the time of year. But dude, I like doing that. Die Hard, man, I'm a Die Hard Broncos fan. As much as I hate to say it.
What a great year this year for you
The
guys.
state of the franchise. But yeah, I'm huge into the NFL. Love fantasy football and betting on sports now a little bit. So responsibly, 1-800-GAMBLER.
Responsibly, yeah. And they probably have insurance for that, don't they?
No, it's total
See,
risk.
there's a line you need to get into, man.
There's no mitigation of
Okay,
risk
all right.
there, but
You're either
That's
bad
assuming
or
all risk.
yeah. And then, man, another thing I've really been into lately, and throughout my whole life, is rock music. So Josh knows I'm a big rock guy. We're speaking Chinese when Nate's around, talking about rock. But
The great part of that was the first half was you guys talking about sports and I think particularly football. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
And I totally, there's a part of my brain that just tunes it all out. I'm just like, I'm enjoying that they're happy.
Yeah.
You know, that's and I'm thinking about something. But then we started talking about 80s rock metal,
Yeah.
big guitar solos and stuff, and that was a lot of fun. And then,
So
I felt like we switched gears, and so it's like
It's
man,
a triangular relationship.
it's
That's
like
how it
Lucas
works,
can
yeah.
hang out. You're like the missing piece.
So if you ever go on a road trip with Josh, he goes, "Oh man, check this out, and before you know it, the sound system in the car is just blurring. You can't understand anything the vocals are saying, but he's over there like, "Isn't that awesome?"
I just don't think you're trying hard enough, Lance.
I shut it off.
So one cool thing now we're on music right now that Copeland does too is you guys do a lot of sponsoring at the Stiefel here in town.
Yeah, the Stiefel's actually one of our clients, one of my favorite clients to work with. Jane and April there at the Stiefel, they're great people. They're a ton of fun to work with, and man, it's just really cool when we get the bigger shows into a town like Salina, and the history of the Stiefel. I wish my grandma was still alive. That was like her favorite place to go. She talked to me about it all the time, and
Wow.
man, she'd probably be freaking out if she knew that was a client of mine now. So
So you get to meet the performances that come in and
unfortunately, I don't get to meet
You
them.
don't- okay.
I was offered pictures with the Christmas a cappella group, but not my gig.
not
the
your
speed.
taste.
Yeah, not my speed.
Well, you'll
but,
put that on your wall, right?
The
Yeah,
second time that I met you, I think we were talking about 38 Special coming to Stiefel, and you said that you got to open for Styx.
Yeah.
And when they came through, and I go, "Oh, you play guitar?" And I guess that's your line, I was like, "No, I gotta, go out there as the sponsor."
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I can talk my boss into like, "Hey Jay, we got Styx and 38 Special coming, man. What do you think?" He's like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
But so on the Styx one though, when you opened for them and introduced them and you walked out,
Oh, that's right.
tell us
Yeah.
what followed that from the crowd.
Yeah, so I walk out there. My wife is sitting with my boss recording because I'm kind of nervous. It's my first time. Not too bad when you get up there because the lights are just in your face. You can't see anything, anyways. But I don't have to talk, so thankfully that's good too. But Jane introduces me. But anyways, yeah, Jane, the director, introduced me. This is Lucas with Copeland Insurance. He does a great job handling our insurance. And my wife catches this lady in front of us. "Boo, we want Styx, get off the stage." And I was like, wow, gosh.
So did you meet the guys from Styx?
I did not meet anybody from the
I mean,
Styx.
I listened to those guys in the 80s. They've got to be fairly old by now, right?
Yeah, Tommy Shaw, man, he was
There was no wheelchairs or walkers or anything out there?
no, they were pretty mobile.
Oh, that's awesome.
I will say, the closest I've ever gotten was 38 Special when we were waiting. So there's like a little like tuning room built on the side of the stage, and we walk by, and like the director's like, they're the stage guys, like don't look at them or anything. And I'm like, what a bunch of pricks, right? But it turns out they're warming up, and I just hear. Then I was like, all right, well, that makes sense. No one wants to be looked at when they're making those types of noises. But
Big vocal cords and everything.
yeah, because there's like, sounded like he was like running from a bear or something. I was like, all right, fair enough. And then you hear a bunch of guys, clearing their throats and stuff. And I was like, okay, I see why now. But I was like, dang, that can't be that stuck up. These guys are like my childhood heroes. We had 38 Special's greatest hits in the 70 Chevy pickup. So that's all I listened to
Watch,
for like
it was
3 years.
it was a different room, and everybody in there just had COVID.
Yeah. Just a sick person.
Don't
man.
even look at them.
Yeah.
So that 80s, what do you call it? 80s hair. Is it 80s hair metal or what do you?
Yeah.
Glam rock.
Yeah.
Hair
Where
metal.
is that from? Just like with your dad, or where that
Yeah.
come from?
So yeah, growing up with my dad, we had Def Leppard's Greatest Hits and the '92 Thunderbird growing up. So listen to that all the time, and actually took it to school. Like our gym teacher let you bring in a CD and play one song, and so I played "Pour Some Sugar on Me," and then. Fast forward to middle school. This is a pretty funny story. I was in 7th grade, and we learned how to like put music to PowerPoints, and we had to like put music on there and then put like the lyrics on the slides. And I did Pour Some Sugar on Me again, and I was like, I picked the wrong version of the song to play with it, and so it was off. And then I got really embarrassed, and then I was like, "Do you want me to try again?" The teacher's like, "I don't want to hear any of that ever again." I mean, it's not like it's curse words or anything too direct, but it's suggestive.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Oh,
So,
man. That.
Yeah,
The only 80s style I guess I've known to like is like Take on Me by Aha. You know, stuff like that.
Oh,
or like
yeah.
Tears for Fears. And then I did try listening to some of the music after we had that conversation.
yeah.
I
Couldn't do it?
I don't know what it
Couldn't do
is.
it,
My
yeah.
skin started crawling, and I just like,
I went to my brother's for Thanksgiving in Arkansas, and we went out to his shop, and of course he's got the Sirius XM, the Hair Nation, and you know, he can predict. You know, he's like, we're gonna hear a song by Scorpions, a song by Dokken, a little Rat in there, you know, and then there's always a couple in there that I'm not a big Faster Pussycat fan.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
they maybe a one-hit wonder or whatever.
I agree.
But then you'll have Cinderella, you'll have all those, you know, in a row. And I remember one of the first things he said, yeah, it's like your default station in your truck.
Yeah.
Well, one of yours is ABBA, right? That's your big hit group that you like.
I don't even know who that is. ABBA?
Oh man, am I way over your guys' age?
My wife likes them.
I know who ABBA is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that rock?
I don't think it's the same genre. Yeah, but
That's what I'm saying. No.
ABBA.
I'll have to check him out. Yeah.
I was reaching deep. I'm thinking, how did I miss them?
I messed that one up, right? Edit.
No, we'll keep that in there.
That's hilarious. No, I seriously like ABBA.
They were a Swedish mild rock or folk.
But they were 70s though, or were they 60s?
Yeah, 70s.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, how old are you, Lucas?
I am 26.
Oh my goodness!
And that's the funny
that's
part
what's
is,
even
yeah,
more
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's, but it's kind of like, you know, so I'm 38, and people that I grew up with listening to the Beatles or listening to, you know, it's just, if you like that genre, then you're kind of hooked, especially if you grew up and you have all these great memories.
Yeah.
You know, with it. For me, it's always the guitar. You know, it's the over the top guitar solos that takes up, you know, a third of the song.
Yeah.
And,
Just play Leonard
the
Skinner
tech-
then. That's all you got to play in there, you know. Just play Freebird and you're good to go.
Yeah, it's a little bit slower,
I
but
know.
it's awesome. I love blues too. I
Yeah.
love Stevie Ray Vaughan but do you? So the reason I asked how old you were. So when I was in high school, the big thing at that time was like pop punk. It was pop punk and emo.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, and then it went into, you know, early, like the new metal of the 2000s. Do you like any of that stuff?
Oh yeah. I
Like Good Charlotte you're talking about and stuff like
Well,
that?
so yeah,
or
like that's like the pop punk side, or Newfound Glory, and then Taking Back Sunday. But then the new metal was more like Korn and Linkin Park, and
see, that's the
some of
crazy
those
part. Is
other-
like Linkin Park's my favorite band, but I don't like that screamo stuff.
my brother
besides-
was into a lot of that. I drifted more towards a lot of Christian metal, but and then like actual heavy metal that tried to get into more, which would be kind of, there's so many of those genres, but like old school metal, like Metallica or Pantera or Megadeth. And you get into newer stuff like that's melodic while still having the scream
Yeah.
and the great long guitar solos, you know, the technical guitar solos. So do you I mean, you like some of that stuff?
Oh
too?
yeah. One of my favorite bands from that era is definitely Seether.
Okay.
Seen them quite a few times. 3 Days. I like 3 Days Grace.
Yep.
Stuff like
I like
that.
3 Days Grace.
Yeah.
Like
Look at
Riot's
that.
a good
To be-
song. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be 26 and have that, that's pretty interesting.
So like when we were growing up, you know, like the CCR, Leonard Skinner. I mean, those were kind of like the classic,
Yeah.
At what point will the 80s be the classic then?
I think they are.
Right.
Is it now? Is it like,
Yeah.
that's like and like the 70s and that's like the oldies now? Like has that replaced the oldies and then it's like the new classic or?
The 70s are what I listened to, so yeah.
Well, you're kind of in the oldies now.
I'm the oldies. You guys are talking about stuff I don't even follow. I'm
If
just
you go
like,
in most bars, you're still going to hear Guns N' Roses and
Yeah.
Poison,
Yeah, I don't-
Def Leppard.
I don't think
true.
that's going to change, especially at football games and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But I will say, you mentioned being 26 and liking that music. I will say I got to defend myself out there sometimes. Like, it's really popular for people my age to like go buy a AC/DC Def Leppard shirt
Yep.
from Target and then wear it. And I've actually got real tour shirts from shows I've been to, and people are like, "You don't even know who they are." And I was like, "Oh yeah, well." My favorite was like I went into the Blind Pig. My buddy's dad works there, so we were going in one day, and I was wearing a Winger T-shirt, and I overheard a table say, "Yeah, look at these kids. They don't even know like these bands anymore. They just wear the shirts." And I turned around, and I was like, "Yeah, I just went and saw them like 3 days ago," and they're like, "Oh my gosh,
Okay.
we're sorry." And I was like, "No, it's fine." But yeah, and even at like a concert, I've like caught a guitar pick, and I've had ladies turn around like, "You're not even old enough to know them. Give it to me." And I'm like, "What? No." And these like guys are my idol still. So
That's pretty cool though.
Did you say you grabbed a poster? You like when?
yeah, I got the set list at 38 Special from the road crew, so that was pretty sweet. I'm gonna frame that, and then I got a couple guitar picks they threw out too. So and then Jane's hooking me up with the display poster, so I'm gonna frame all that and put it in my office. So my boss called me. He's like, "Hey, we were talking. He just hadn't heard from me in a while, and because he couldn't make it to the 38 Special show, and I was like, "Hey, Jay, don't want to tell you, man, but 38 Special was awesome." And he's like, and I told him about the picks they caught. And he's like, "Why don't you give that to your little buddy Jay?" I was like, "Hey, man,
Nope.
It's like I got two of the same ones. I'll see what I can do."
Yeah.
But
That's cool.
That is funny.
but
I like how we digress to like half the podcast now is music. So there we go. But that's how it works.
That's all right.
But well, cool, man. We really appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah.
And I think insurance is such an overlooked, underappreciated area that people just look at it as, gosh, here's another expense I have to pay monthly or on my mortgage, and you really don't. You really don't truly feel the need for it until it hits you. And then one of the most frustrating things is when you need it and you use it and you can't get good service to get something fixed. And
Yeah.
so,
yeah, I kind of think of it as like, everybody, and we're looked at as like, oh, just another bill until you need us, Nothing makes me happier to be there at the end of the day. You've had a loss, and I get to hand you that check to make you whole again.
Right.
And that's probably the most rewarding thing in the job is like, you're there in people's worst time of need, and you're able to provide, And that's probably my favorite thing about the job overall. So
awesome. So where can people, if people want to come contact you, is there a phone number, email, where can they find you at?
Yeah, so anybody can reach me on my cell phone, 785-531-2659, or by email, or stop in our office. We're located on the first floor of the United Building on Iron and 7th. Can't miss it. We got the CIA on the window. But yeah, so we'd be happy to, offer anybody a free review of their policy, make sure, your limits are up to date and everything. And one of the things I forgot to touch on is auto insurance is, the value of vehicles are going up, kind of peaking right now. But, a lot of people are just like, give me the state minimum limits and stuff like that. But your property damage on your state minimum limits is only $25,000. And so if you run into one of today's modern vehicles, or gosh forbid, you run into people waiting at a stoplight, you've already hit 4 vehicles.
So I'm going to stop you a second. With all the new electric vehicles out there and the technology, how's the insurance world taking on these electric vehicles?
So kind of like when Uber became a thing, there was a couple of companies that are always like looking for the next best thing and stuff like that to like insure. And that's kind of how it is with electric vehicles. Funny enough, I quoted one of those Rivian trucks. I don't know if you guys have seen those around town, but Travelers was like, yeah, electric vehicle discount, and everybody else was like super high on it because there's not enough research long term on the cost of like all the materials and stuff, and especially an accident with the lithium batteries.
Well, that's I'm sitting here thinking about the driverless vehicles that companies are putting out on the road, I can't understand how any insurance company would want to insure that.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't guarantee some little kid's not going to run out in front of that car, and I just don't trust technology enough. But
yeah, I kind of always think about back to my hunter safety instructor. You know, the safety is a mechanism, and it can and will fail. You know, that's essentially
you're,
what the,
you're the safety.
Yeah. We are the safety people, and so, but you know, unfortunately, I haven't come across any autonomous vehicles yet to insure, but you know, that's a great sector that is going to be coming around here soon. So yeah, and especially, you know, kind of circling back to the just in general accidents. Right now, we are at a 20-year high on fatalities when it comes to motor vehicle accidents, and so that's another reason why you see insurance rates on automobiles creeping up, is because we're experiencing like I said, 20-year high of fatalities. So that's costing insurance companies, you know, they're limiting out pretty much right away when something like that happens.
Any specific reason why?
You know,
I think cell phones.
So,
I think
yeah.
people on texting or social, like checking stuff on their phones while driving.
Cell phones now, you know, everywhere you go now, I mean, 80 miles an hour is pretty much the standard for speed limit.
I'm not joking. I was on Crawford the other day, and there was this guy on a motorcycle on his phone. On a motorcycle. I'm thinking, wow, that is not mitigating risk.
Yeah, there you go.
But, you know, I was thinking as Lance was mentioning about the electric vehicles and insuring those, and that becoming more of a, just like that is a perfect example of why they need a human. They need an ally to go in there and be a partner to say, because I can't imagine trying to deal with a bot or, you know, a random person each time trying to get the coverage for that.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're just going to become more and more popular. So
Yeah. That's a ever-changing world, I'd say. And insurance is we always joke about. You know, insurance is always way behind technology-wise. We've actually got a company that still like prints stuff out in like block letters whenever you get a bill and stuff. And so like they do great. They have great coverage.
and
Don't
then
get
you
me
have
wrong.
companies like Allstate that go to
People
we're
are
just
trying
gonna-
to take it one step too
they're in
far.
the ditch.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, man, appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me,
And,
guys.
Everybody, go see Lucas for your home and auto and
Yeah.
Yep.
a commercial coverage. So
Yep. I like to say, big or small, we insure it all.
Put that on the shirt.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right on.
with the CIA letters in white and a black shirt. So.
Hey, Lucas, thanks for coming over.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks so much.
Content here is for illustrative and educational purposes only. It is not legal, tax, or individualized financial advice. Nor is it a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any specific security or engage in any specific trading strategy. Results will vary. Market conditions change continuously. Past performance is no guarantee of future results or success. All investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities offered by registered representatives through Private Client Services, member FINRA SIPC. Advisory products and services offered by investment advisory representatives through RFG Advisory, a registered investment advisor. RFG Advisory, Billings Group, and Private Client Services are unaffiliated entities.